but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise. Oh, yes, you are the devil in disguise. The devil in disguise. I thought that I was in heaven. We're watching Siren Head. Animations. Heaven knows how you lied to me. Okay, we getting in. Let's get it.
Of course it would decide to come back today. Of all
Is this
days.
another scary?
Any
There's a
foggy
snake in our
day
boot.
is
This
fair
scary,
game.
isn't it?
But today,
Yes,
if it was smart enough to keep track of time,
Probably gonna kill people.
I'd say it was mocking
Ooh,
me.
I graduated. Who? But this is bad.
It would have been easy to stay home
Trash.
that day. Maybe do something useful.
Guys, be quiet.
Help pond the fields, or hang the washing up to dry like Ma asked.
We watching it.
But the sun was so warm and inviting.
Watching.
A perfect summer day like that couldn't be wasted. But even then, there's a million other things a kid could have done in a farm bathed in sunshine. Plenty of places I could have gone. Of course, they told us to stay out of the woods, but I always sneaked out,
Cute puppy.
and they never stopped me. I thought Ma was paranoid. Who ever heard of people disappearing in those woods? That's the kind of stuff you hear in children's books. Pa gave that indifferent, listen to your mother nod whenever Ma brought it up.
You give that to a
Probably too
kindergartner.
busy to care what she was lecturing me about. Despite it all, I figured this is real life, not some fairy tale. There's nothing but critters and mischief out there.
Mischief
What
is where you
really
would
sent
go
me into the woods
be
that day
missing.
was naivete, bravery, and a girl named Caroline.
Like the
Even
demon
after
barber.
thinking about it all these years,
She said,
I
"Mischief,
can't quite
mischief,
put my finger
mischief."
on the moment things
And then
went
she went
wrong.
missing. Dead.
Maybe I just wasn't
That was his
alert
wife,
or
but he didn't
observant
know.
enough. Milo sure was, though. Good old boy. His walk got more and more tense, and he started growling. He always did that when meeting new people, so it was easy to dismiss. By that time, we were getting pretty deep into the woods, and I expected her to pop out from behind a tree at any second. She was definitely nearby, but I couldn't find her. And then she started calling my name, asking me to find her.
Jackson!
That's creepy.
Jackson!
Which way it coming from?
Her voice was muffled.
Hold up. She done went, Jackson, come. I could imagine her being like, looking like trying to be a model. She wiggling her whole body. Jackson. Then her head, come.
Static. Or maybe she was just further away from the spot where we said we'd meet. She wasn't as familiar with the woods as I was, so I started to worry that she'd gotten lost, even though she didn't sound scared. I arrived at the meeting spot.
Oh, what the
An
heck?
old
That's
stump
nasty.
that
Why
kinda
you
looked like it had a
trying
face
to draw
carved
Jack the
into
Pocket
it.
King on the freaking face?
The woods were darker, the trees much taller and more dense, and there seemed to be fewer creatures around. It was quiet.
Yeah,
No bird calls or squirrels scurrying up and down the tree trunks. I called to her a few times, but she just kept calling for me to come. Milo was still on edge, and I was starting to feel tense too. That could have been when things went wrong.
Now she mad. Jackson, come! She like, you better get here now before I cut you at your eye. After the 2 parts of this animation, we're probably gonna watch my favorite YouTuber Corey X Kenshin animated siren head.
After a few minutes,
I
I
thought
was
it was a
worried that
girl
she had
looking
hurt
at the
herself and
picture,
needed
but-
my help.
'Cause I
So
thought
I
it was
went off in
lipstick,
the
but then
direction
I
of her
see it's a
voice,
beard.
deeper into the woods. I called to her over and over, getting more concerned with every passing minute. The tree trunks were immense, and I can't say
Now
that
she
the
sound
tales
like
of
a jerky
people
teen.
disappearing at the
She
hands of
mad.
a forest-dwelling monster didn't cross my mind. In my head, I was preparing a speech to recite for Caroline when I found her. Something about sending me on a wild goose chase through the woods and making me worry about her. She sounded like she was nearby, but something about her voice was freaking me out. I thought about turning back and calling it quits, but I felt like
She went, Jackson! Jackson! She go really quick, Jackson! Like she about to be Roxanne, Roxanne. Except she done say Jackson, Jackson. No, she done went Jackson. Like here's Johnny, here's Jackson.
I was getting close. Then Milo started barking the loudest I'd ever heard.
Sorry if I pause so much, but that's really what reacting to something is. Okay, people?
Heard him and darted back and forth around me. I panicked and backed up too quickly, tripping over a root and falling. A sharp pain shot up my leg.
Why are you
On the forest
backing
floor,
away
I
from your
looked up at the
freaking
canopy,
dog?
and my jaw dropped. Standing at least 40 feet tall was the nastiest combination of man and machine I'd ever seen. Its arms and legs were so thin, I could see the outlines of veins and bones beneath the skin. There wasn't a bit of flesh on its torso either. It looked like a vacuum-sealed skeleton. But the creepiest part was its head, or
Got
lack
a freaking
of
tree
a head.
thing in his head.
Atop its neck were a pair of sirens facing in opposite directions.
Side of his neck was
No
a pair
eyes or
of tree
ears,
limbs,
but
apparently.
it did have mouths inside those sirens.
Wait, no, that's on the
And as
siren.
I looked up at it,
okay.
completely in shock, it turned down towards me and opened its mouths.
Oh my! That's your girlfriend. This thing said, Jackson. There you. That's your freaking girlfriend now.
I scrambled to my feet and ran with all
I imagine the thing saying, there you are, Jackson.
the strength I had.
My actually knowledge of Siren Head, he done ate the girl or done trapped her somewhere, okay? Nah, he ate the girl. That's all the knowledge I freaking know, okay? And took her voice. Jackson! Jackson, come! Jackson, come! Jackson! There you are, Jackson. That's your
Milo fought
girlfriend
by my
now.
side, just as afraid as I was, hearing the deafening sounds of trees cracking around me, their enormous
He's afraid
trunks
of the size of the
splintering and
tree.
crashing to the
He's
ground.
tall as the tree.
That's when the siren started blaring from the creature's head. My
don't
muscles
think he's
burned
as
and my
heavy as
lungs
the tree.
screamed for air as I burst through the clearing of our east field. Ma was standing by the truck on the far side, her mouth open in disbelief. I'm sure she could have felt the ground shaking from a mile away.
Probably could, but I don't
Ma
see
was
it.
already
Oh, there
running
he
towards
is.
me with a
Oh,
shotgun.
whoop,
But as he
there
saw
it
the horror
is.
that came behind me, he stopped dead in his
You see? You see that right there? Siren Head's arm on that tree. That's a stiff arm. This freaking dude fat holding the gun like, what you about to do? And then I'm asking him, what you about to do? You see the height? It looked like he got somebody done bent a chuck out the side of him. Like that's a part of a puzzle.
tracks. Eyes wide, he pointed to the entrance to the tornado shelter built under the house. I didn't think that was going to be enough to keep us safe from this behemoth, but my body was giving out. The pain in my leg from falling in the woods was growing with every stride. I put everything I had into that last stretch of my sprint to the shelter. Milo managed to keep pace, and Pa ran ahead to unbolt the door. Ma broke out of a trance and scrambled towards the shelter, too. The sirens blared on, though ironically there was no tornado. The door flew open and Pa dove inside. Milo leaped in ahead of me, and I stumbled in a few seconds later. It took a few beats for me to realize Ma hadn't come stumbling through the door behind me. She was running as quickly as she could manage, wild eyes.
He about to get her. You see his hand? His hand looks like one of the aliens from Toy Story would say, the claw. He about to snatch her up. Oh no.
Right into mine, screaming.
He's like a freaking monkey though. His freaking toes look like his fingers.
The whole way, but the thing was faster than her.
Oh no!
Shook the ground so
Oh no! The claw! Oh no! This freaking thing made her fly up into the sky. He about to catch her, say, "You're out!"
Intensely, I thought the house was going to come down on top of us. She was knocked off her feet, and its massive hand came down on top of her.
Mom, no!
I looked away.
No!
Pa was transfixed.
You fiend! You punk, you fiend, you scumbag! You scoundrel! Piece of garbage! Unhand my mother! See this boy over here doing that? Nah, fam. I see that thing grab my mother, I'm about to say, "Hey! Where you going? I'm gonna cut your whole leg off. You better bring my mom back before I cut you in half. Bruh, you just like a freaking tree. Let me go get my axe. I'll chop you in half, sucker. Unhand my mother, you scoundrel." This boy over here, I don't know what to do. Me, on the other hand, I'm grabbing the chainsaw, cutting this man in half. About to get the ladder, put it up against his leg, chop that leg down, then he come falling down. I got you, and I'm about to cut your head off. This boy, Mom! Mom! Like he a freaking owl saying, "Ooh, ooh." He just sitting there, ain't gonna do nothing.
I'd never seen such helplessness and pain on his face. Ma cried out my name as I lifted her up, then turned to walk back towards the woods.
He done killed her.
We couldn't do anything but watch.
He done, whatever it is, done killed his mother. Are you freaking for real? He done stole my mother, and then when he's taking her in the woods, Jackson, come. You think after what I just saw, I'm about to come to you? That's what that boy would say. But when he said, "Jackson, come," I'm like, "Hold up. I'll be right there." Then he hear the chainsaw, vroom, 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 cut that legs off. Cut that leg off. Get the other one too. Shoot him in the eyeball. Cut his head off. Right after I slit his throat, cut him open. So I'm thinking, Mrs. Jackson, in 10 million years.
Milo, come on. We got an old score to settle. There hasn't been a day in my life I haven't thought about that morning. Thought about that thing. How it ruined our family, ruined our lives. I've mourned Ma every day, and never even knew what happened to her. How she might have died, whether it tortured her or not, or if it just kept her prisoner somewhere. I lost Pa that day too. He blamed me for the whole mess. Started drinking.
Excuse me. You think I'm supposed to know? I have not seen a demon creature that sound like my girlfriend I'm going on a date with. Don't call out my name with her voice. I come out the woods, y'all look scared for me. Then mom gets snatched up. You blame it on me? I didn't know she was in a trance for one, so that's her fault. For two, you had a gun, you didn't shoot the thing. That's your fault. But if that child was like me, he would have got the chainsaw and then cut the thing's feet off. It gonna fall over? Yeah. I'm slicing your throat, I'm slicing you open, I'm slicing your head off. 'Cause you barely have a
Eventually
throat.
left. All these years, it's been just you and me, Milo. And now we're going to finish this.
Okay, if you say so.
Wherever you've been all these years, I'm sure you've only hurt people, taken others who were loved, torn families apart. I bet nobody's tried hunting you the way you hunt people, though. And I bet I'm one of the only ones who ever got away from you.
You can see his freaking siren up there in the corner, that little black thing.
You know what that means? I know you, and I've got nothing left to lose. I hope you're ready to meet your maker, Siren.
You got your dog to lose, and you got your life to lose. But, first off, do you see that dog's face? It's the funniest face I've ever seen a dog make before in my life. He's like, Like he's freaking Scooby-Doo on that Yo Mama joke. Would you do it for a Scooby snack? Well, no.
Head.
Jackson.
Oh! Are you still freaking doing that? Jackson, come. I can't tell if that's still his girlfriend or his mom now. Why is your chest so red now? Yeah, your mom
You
is out
took
of
my
that.
mother. You took Caroline. How many other voices have you stolen, freak?
Freak of nature! You got shot in your titty now. Yeah, cut his leg off. Oh, you got your neck broke. I heard that one. Or his wrist broke. Oh, no! First of all, we ain't making out. So you better put your tongue back in your mouth, because you ain't getting no tongue. You ain't getting nothing. Put your tongue back in your mouth, you freak. You freak of nature. I'm gonna punch all your teeth out. You put me in there. I won't. You're gonna choke putting me in there. Well, you know he dead now. Milo, just go bite the foot he chopped, because there was very little.
Milo.
Excuse me. You gonna kill the dog too? Milo. Yeah, that's freaking from Jumanji 2. Milo Walker. That's me.
Come, Milo.
Come, Milo. You dead forever? Okay.
Thank you.
Here's part 2. Wait, he's alive? Is he in a belly or... No, that don't look like a belly. That looked like you got in a giant demigorgon.
It's about
He's in a giant demigorgon. Wait, is that
time.
his mother?
Been wondering if you were gonna wake up at all.
Where am I?
His mother would be dead for
How did I
old
get
man
here?
is. He's an old man.
I imagine the same way I did. Him.
No, that ain't his mother.
Right.
Is it?
I guess I never considered it had a gender. It was always just this thing, this monster.
The name's Charlotte. And if it's any consolation, I'm sorry your luck has brought you here.
My name's Jackson. Same to you.
What's your story? Clearly you already know about the Siren Head. Have you had run-ins with him before?
Eyebrows like a dude.
You could say that.
A girl I see.
You took my mom.
She ugly. How are you drinking that dirty foot water? Or is that?
I'll admit I've never fully recovered. I mean, I went after the guy with just an axe and a shotgun. How nutty must I have been? Every night for years, when I laid my head down, it wasn't the swaying of the wheat or the chirp of the crickets I heard. It was the distorted, muffled voice of my mother speaking to me. It was siren.
Back up. Is that a knife in your pocket? If you're in Siren Head's stomach, I would imagine you could cut your way out. But if you're in a mountain, I'd understand. What if the mountain is like something where you got a rope, throw it up there, tie it to something. I know what I could do with that rope. You see that skeleton right there, those ribs? Tie it to the middle of that, then use it as a grappling hook. Get out. The freaking Demogorgon looking thing.
The wheat or the chirp of the crickets I heard. It was the distorted, muffled voice of my mother speaking to me. It was Siren Head.
Wow. That all sounds really rough. I know you probably heard it from everyone close to you, but it isn't your fault, Jackson.
Oh, I know it isn't my fault. It's his. Now tell me, how did you find yourself down here?
Mine might not be as tragic as yours, but it is complicated, to say the least. In my former life, I was a doctor. Well, at least I was training to be one.
Okay.
When it all began, I was simply a resident, under the tutelage of the master surgeon, Dr. Vincent Henderson.
You look more like a doctor right there. More like a nurse, actually. And you ain't got no eyebrows there. So you must have been there for a long time to get them eyebrows. And if you don't want eyebrows, well, it's risky, but use the knife. Cut them off. You look disgusting in that stomach or mountain or whatever it is.
God, did I respect that man. There was no problem he couldn't fix, big or small.
Boyfriend.
Man, if he wasn't set on fixing everything he could. Luckily, I felt the same way. I thought the two of us could change the world. I would have followed him to the end of the earth. Sometimes it feels like I did. About 2 years into my residency, he became extremely focused on philanthropic aid.
Now, them two probably about to do tongue, but not Siren Head and and Jackson. No, that's nasty.
We started taking trips to hospitals and more
Actually, they might have, because Jackson was knocked the heck out.
impoverished areas, volunteering entire weekends at a time. He kept pushing me harder, saying that we needed to do more. It was our civic duty. I was constantly exhausted. I couldn't catch a break. If it was anybody else, I would have given up and found a new surgeon to study under, but he was so inspiring. I pushed through so much exhaustion and pain for him and for the people we were helping.
That's how you know she like him. So freaking, it's not 'cause he's inspiring. It's 'cause you got a crush on him, you little ugly person.
Invariably, there were patients that we could do nothing for. Either we were too late or they were too sick. Over time, I started to become accustomed to death, as most doctors do. But Vincent took it hard every single time. He said it felt like he personally failed them. One night, we were closing up his practice, and he pulled a bottle of gin out of his desk drawer, Told me I could stay for a drink if I'd like. And
This dude done pulled out wine or beer, whatever the heck gin is. Gin to me sounds like piss. But he done pulled it out of his desk. That's how you know they dating. They about to have a child. They would've, probably. Nah, man.
of course I did. As the night
Oh yeah, by the way, as it says there, Siren Head is an SCP, but he is also a creepy pasta.
went on, he got more and more distraught.
And it's not a scary food you eat. It is like Jeff the Killer and stuff, okay? For some people that are weird. Like me.
Going on his usual tirade,
Like me, but I know that stuff.
berating himself for not doing enough.
I'm weird in a different way. I'm weird by wanting attention by being funny. Not wanting attention but being funny, but sometimes wanting attention from new people? Maybe?
He said that every patient who died in
I'm a freak of nature. I'm not a freak of nature. He is, and, Siren Head is.
his care was a life that he'd wasted.
SCPs are. Not all creepy pastas are. That's a lie.
See, that stuck out to me. He never said that before. So I tried consoling him, saying that it wasn't up to him what they did with their lives. Then he
I thought she had her arms pressed up against him on the wall.
looked at me intensely and said, "Maybe not, but there is something we can do with their deaths." He had me follow him into an exam room at the back of the practice, pushed a floor-to-ceiling storage cabinet aside to reveal a metal door that I'd never seen before.
Okay.
Milo.
That's his sex dungeon.
Hey, Milo. Where are you,
Come on, don't do that.
boy?
Milo. Milo. Come here, Milo. Where are you, boy? Come here, boy. That's a meme. This is also a meme. You're not my dad. I think those memes go together. Come here, boy. You're not my dad. Here's your only shoes.
Wow.
He's missing
A secret room. What was in there?
sex dungeon.
The room was a cold storage unit. I'd never known about it all my months of working with him. He unlocked it and ushered me inside. I remember the shock, mostly, and the smell. There were 4 bodies laying on metal exam tables covered in thin white
I have a theory, but I'm not gonna say it. I'll tell you later. I think it will be correct.
sheets. Panic started to rise, and every muscle in my body was ready to run, but a certain curiosity held me back. He walked to the first body and looked at me before lifting the sheet. It was a Caucasian male, about 40, bloated and extremely pale. His skull had been opened and sewn shut again, and there were pins sticking into his scalp. There was a speaker in his mouth, stretching his lips abnormally wide. The second body Vincent uncovered was a Middle Eastern
I think my theory is right.
female, no older than 30, who I could tell had been beautiful before she was hacked up. The third one was very thin, probably someone who suffered from anorexia. She was definitely less bloated than the others, but that could have been because the body was fresher. At this point, my mind was spinning and it felt hard to breathe. Vincent barely showed any emotion at all.
I would do the same thing. I would throw up.
Probably just trying to gauge my reaction.
I would throw up if I saw the real Siren Head, because he is real, because there was real sightings, and there was fake ones by editing.
He did hesitate slightly.
I'm pretty sure I was right about my theory. And I'm going to tell you right now, because you should have the idea. I was going to say because Siren Head is a dead body. I'm thinking that he probably created Siren Head.
Before revealing the last body,
Right.
though, I couldn't tell what it had been. The entire head had been removed. Instead of a neck, there was a metal pole sticking out from between the shoulders, and mounted on top of it was a large, cone-shaped speaker. More like a megaphone or a siren than a speaker, really. The body was completely emaciated. The skin was leathery, almost like it had been mummified.
That time I would just puke all up in his face.
I'm gonna stop you right there. This long-winded speech of yours really just boils down to your buddy creating this monster. That's all it is, isn't it?
Yes.
There's more to it. Really, we...
We? What do you mean, we?
Just listen. Right after he showed me all of that, he explained the project to me. He needed help, he said. The two of us were doing all that we could, but it wasn't enough. There was still enormous suffering, even within our immediate community. Through this loss of life, he said he could build something useful, bodies to help aid us if he could reanimate them. This was going to be his greatest achievement, and he asked me to help him. He said he was very close to finishing the project, and he was sure his next one would work, but the operation would be delicate and lengthy. He needed me.
So what? You're in love with this guy, and you just do anything he asks?
Basically.
It was complicated. I didn't say yes right away. I said I'd need time to think it over, which he agreed to. I knew it was disrespectful to the people whose bodies he used. I knew it was unnatural. Seriously, kid, I was torn about it. I couldn't sleep at night. My devotion to him and my belief in his work were pitted against this grotesque and extremely illegal project. But he procured a body just a couple days later, and when he called on me to step up, I just couldn't refuse.
Procured a body? Jesus, did you never ask where he got them from?
Of course I did. I had a lot of questions. So many that I thought he would accuse me of prying and throw me out of his office, or worse. But he was always patient and answered every question with the same calm logic he used that first night. The bodies were from a colleague of his. With the number of people that he helped, he'd won a ridiculous amount of favors and trust in the community.
And why the speakers?
Oh, the muscles used to create speech are much harder to control than muscles in your arms or legs. These things didn't need to talk much, but if they were going to interact with our patients, they need to speak a little. So the speakers were easier than trying to get their mouths to work. Well, we only accomplished that once. On him. I wasn't even in the room for that part. He asked me to step out, but the rest of the operation was grueling. Prepping the body took nearly 20 hours, and then we had to remove the head, attach the sirens, string wires around.
That's disgusting, and why would you put those pads on sirens? The sirens ain't alive? The endoskeleton apparently is.
Graft muscle onto metal, covered the really gross-looking parts with extra skin. Felt more like an installation than an operation in some ways. We pumped that body full of steroids, had it attached to huge monitors, used electric
He done pumped the body full of steroids. No wonder the freaking thing went crazy.
charges. It was so experimental. I had no idea how he came up with these techniques, if you could even call them that.
So I was right. You made it.
Sure, we both did. I felt conflicted the entire time, but once the thing came to life, you have to understand, I thought this would only lead to good things, less suffering. I was proud to some extent. At first, it seemed to go really well. We would give it simple commands, and it would listen. We just kept him in his office doing little tasks under supervision. Then, I think, Vincent went back and worked on him a little more without me. He started growing. And by all laws of logic, that shouldn't have happened. He wasn't truly, really alive. At least at first. He became more violent and hard to control, and One day he just broke through the wall of the office and ran off. We tracked him down to this wooded area, and it wasn't hard. He created this path of destruction wherever he went. It wasn't anything like he does now, though. He was only about 10 feet tall at the time. When we found him, he was blundering around in circles and spouting nonsense from his sirens. He seemed confused, honestly. It was all just radio static and the occasional word jumble. Vincent and I tried to talk to him, but he either didn't understand us anymore or didn't care what we were saying. Eventually, Vincent decided he was a lost cause and wanted to try again with a sixth body. But by that point, I was thoroughly horrified at what our creation had become. I told him I was out. I couldn't continue the project anymore. And I've spent all my years since then tracking Siren Head, trying to figure out how to undo my mistake.
Milo, there you are. Good boy.
No, that is bad. But what is good is he still has the axe in his leg. I don't know why that's good or funny to me, but it is.
Milo.
This dog's stupid. I'm thinking they're in that mountain.
Do you have any idea what grief you've brought people? I lost my whole family because of this thing. Who knows what it's done to other people in the 12 years since then?
You think I haven't thought about that? I've spent my whole life trying to make up for what I did.
How could you create something you had no control over?
But we did! I don't know what Vincent did to it after that first operation. That's what made us lose control.
It sounds like you're trying to tell yourself you're not to blame. Like you weren't responsible for everything it's done.
No, that's not true at all. Please, you have to help me!
I don't think so.
Oh!
You killed my mother.
This dude is savage. I would do the exact same thing though. Like, pretty much she looks like she's already been flattened anyway, so. And plus, you killed my mother. So you can stay here and die. See you later. Savage. We're savage. They haven't made any more animations.
Thanks for watching the video. We are super excited.
So let me see if I can find this one.
What is Philo? Philo is more than 50 channels of TV, live and on demand, with unlimited
I'm making
DVRs
a
for
video,
$20 a
people.
month. No hassle, no problem, no.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, guys. I am so sorry. I'm running late. It's Spooky Scary Sunday, I know. Please! Please help me!
My gosh.
Oh,
He hasn't made a Spooky Scary Sunday in 2 Sundays.
guys, I really want to apologize
gosh.
for that interruption. Strangest thing. You know, some guy knocked on my door. I don't know what he wanted. Ooh. Sorry for that unprofessionalism. That, I don't know. Get it together, Corey. Get it together. Nothing will ruin this for me.
We're pretty much seeing him reacting
Nothing
to the same thing
will
we're
ruin my
reacting
Spooky
to
Scary Sunday.
as an animation one.
We're on a hunt for Siren Head. Don't ask why. I know what color my skin is. I gotta do this, though. I'm gonna chop his legs off and make a campfire is what I'm gonna do with him. We're in the woods. This is perfect training for us. And we're looking for Siren Head, I think. I know you hear me talking to you out here. With your freaking thigh gap. Oh boy! Yo, he has the coolest freaking noise. Now, what? Am I back against the tree?
He done just cut his whole arm off. Pretty sure that's not how it went when he played the game. Psych, that is what.
Oh, I'm in the woods. Let me get a look at you. Let me get a look at you. You freaking punk. Do I hate you?
Now you know he did.
Bro, where am I? Oh, I'm dead.
Yep, now you know he did. Let's see the sightings.
Siren head sightings are being reported all over the world. After
See,
a
these look
30-year
real, but some of them
slumber,
look
it appears
edited.
to have
And
awakened.
some of them look like somebody
Number
done
10. A
made them.
YouTuber called Paranormal World repeatedly hears haunting voices of small children in this forest. Voices coming from areas too dense for any person to even get to. I can't understand what the kids are saying either. Can you? Probably not. So if you are unlucky enough to hear that noise,
Go crazy. Go stupid.
it probably means it's already too late. Number 9.
Might be it.
A YouTuber named X71 Nawaf is in his home country of Saudi Arabia when he hears a North American emergency weather warning broadcast on a clear day in English instead of his native language. Tell me what Siren Head is saying here. I can understand most of what is being said, but I think some words are misspoken because Siren Head doesn't know the language and is merely imitating phrases. My theory is that Siren Head puts out a weather warning to lure people from the safety of their home for a better look. It seems to work because he wanders out of his home and accidentally into the path of Siren Head itself. As he unsuccessfully tries to hide, he learns firsthand the most unsettling fact about Siren Head of all, its ability to imitate those closest to you. The monster suddenly speaks Arabic and sounds like someone who I suspect this YouTuber personally knows, perhaps a family member, except their voice is far away and tiny, because it's that of a cryptid, not really theirs at all. He runs back inside and locks the door, but at this point it's of little use. Once you are spotted, there really is nowhere left to run. Cornered with absolutely no way to defend himself, there's nothing left to do but record his own doom. This hand at 1 minute and 46 seconds looks large and real.
Hex to the no. Get your hand out my house. Gonna smack my house like a freaking earthquake.
Even in slow motion, fully capable of crushing a normal-sized person without problem, which I'm guessing is what happened next. Number 8. Siren Head's first sighting was in the Arizona desert in the 60s. The next sighting wouldn't be until the 90s in Tanyard Creek, Arkansas. And now in 2020, Siren Head seems to have awakened from its 30-year slumber to stalk and hunt once again. Siren Head is seen and heard crossing Lake Ferguson in Greenland. It looks like it at first, but when you zoom in, the arms look stiffly animated. It also looks somewhat unlevel as it wads through the water.
Joey, are you hungry? Joey! Oh my god, what? I asked if you're hungry. Oh no, I'm not hungry. You haven't eaten anything all day. What do you mean you're not hungry? I'm on a diet, Mom. You're not on no diet. What are you saying? You're just on that phone way too much. Okay, leave me alone. Let me play Helix Jump, girl. I'm trying to beat my high score right now. Okay.
So I'm not sure about this one. Number 7, a YouTuber named DX Army live streams from their hometown of Tanyard Creek, Arkansas, the same place where a siren head once terrified locals in the summer of 1995. DX Army doesn't believe in Siren Head and feels confident because he and his friends have never even heard of him before until now. Now surrounded by fields and woods on a narrow trail, they accidentally leave their main flashlight behind and can't see as far ahead as they'd like. Still, they've been searching for quite a while and no sirens yet, so it looks like this video could be a bust. At this point, they've pretty much given up on cryptid hunting and are just trying their best not to get too turned around in the middle of the night. They're really deep in the woods when this happens. They aren't sure what direction to go next when they realize any direction is better than forward. The siren sounds faint at first.
Stuck in there to be quiet. No, I think we should go back like this way.
But as they linger in place, it gets their scent and grows louder.
Hello? Did you do that?
And suddenly changes into a chittering laughter as it prepares to hunt them down.
The freak?
Now they retrace their steps with more urgency than before, blindly charging into spiky vines that dig into their skin. Just when they think they are in the clear, a stranger calls out for help. Not quite human, but close. And I hear a beep immediately after.
Hold up. You hear that? Whoa. Hey!
They are still in complete disbelief and in shock It looks like it needs a few more frames of animation to smooth out the lag and make it look a little more fluid. Sighting in Morocco. Tell me what language is being spoken and what they're saying for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. Which would mean there would have to be 2. Number 2, Siren Head seems to prefer wooded and but I think it's odd how this cameraman wasn't visible before, including these wires connecting the sirens to its lower legs, so maybe 5 seconds, because I upload 4 new scary videos. Number 1.
Paulie and Vinny are moving in with their double shot exes in Vegas.
Crazy, right?
Because every
The mist walking in the forest past sunset. The lighting in this photo looks real. The camera flash is brightest around its chest, and it's similarly bright at the same height on the tree. The way it gets darker around the neck and sirens likewise matches that part of the tree. So was this standing outside of someone's house? I don't know. Someone tell me if this is photoshopped or not, and how you can tell. These are scary videos that experts can't explain. Watch out, because these videos will
I think that will be it for today. Bye-bye. I said bye-bye, camera. 3, 2,